Okay, so I basically ended up getting this new Aurora R6 less than 24 hours ago. I waited about a week and a half to end up having it come in, and I ended up going with the NVIDIA 1080 Ti. I went to go and update my drivers. It hasn't started since. The computer had to reboot, to restart. And I went and I changed I took the battery for the CMOS out, the CMOS battery on the motherboard. So it's, I'll do it the next time. I'm gonna go get a new one because I did have it changed. My keyboards and my monitor wasn't working, my mouse and my monitor was not posting any electricity or startup power at all, and I was getting a signal of 3 flashes and 7 flashes. So I just took that out, and then I inserted the same one back in, hoping that it would reset something. I'm not a very technical savvy person, but thank God for you guys that end up posting videos like this. So I'm just trying to document this for if somebody else is having some issues. So I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna go get a new 3 volt 2032 battery, and I will try to insert that and see if that comes up with a resolution. But I do have my keyboard and my mouse working again, whereas before I was getting, like I said, the 3 flashes and the 7. The keyboard didn't have any power, the mouse didn't, and my monitor didn't. Now my monitor still doesn't have any power, but hopefully it's just this battery, because boy, it's such a beautiful system, and I really hate to have to send it back for another week and a half of being without it. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so I got a little update going on right now. So basically, like I said, I started out with the 3 and the 7 yellow flashing, and I ended up popping out. And again, I really do apologize for not being very technical savvy. I ended up popping out the CMOS battery right there, and it must have reset something. And then what happened was this started flashing yellow, and I really apologize for the mess. It's been kind of catastrophic for me right now. This thing is brand new, less than 24 hours old. But anyway, so this started flashing to the yellow 5 times then. So when I looked up the code, 5 times was to change the CMOS battery. So I ran to the store. I ended up picking up the Duracell version, the DL2032, which basically both of those are interchangeable and they should work together pretty well. As far as it's just the DL is the Duracell version of the 2032. The 2032 is just the dimension size. Anyways, I do want to give a quick little shout out to a YouTuber here, right here, NCIX Tech Tips. Man, you are awesome. It was this guy's video, and a little bit of digging around on YouTube and the internet about the no post startup, and when I ended up putting up the no post PC, NCIX Tech Tips ended up coming out, and he went through a couple of variables that could end up helping. So anyways, when I ended up popping out the battery and replaced the new one, I also ended up popping out my RAM sticks, the HyperX there that you can see, and I took them out. The one it seemed like it was a little bit loose on the top side, so I took that out and I re-snapped them in, both of them. That was kind of nerve-wracking, especially because I'm not really a PC builder or anything like that. Anyways, going to the back side here, I'm using this cable to run up to my monitor, which is also brand new. I'm not sure exactly what kind of connection that is, but anyways, so on my monitor it wasn't coming on, so I ended up getting my keyboard and my mouse up and running again, from just popping out the battery the first time and putting it back in. So that got me my power back to my keyboard and my mouse, but I still wasn't getting any power to the monitor. When I ended up putting in the new CMOS battery, I still ended up having the power to the keyboard and to the mouse, but I still wasn't getting any power to the monitor. So I went to my monitor, I hit the settings, I made sure that it was on the correct configuration for the cord and the cable that I'm using that's running to the back of my PC. Now, I haven't pushed this all back together yet, so I'm still not, I'm still kind of, skittish about how this is going to all end up working out. But the first thing I ended up doing was I went to the Dell System Detect, and I'm trying to do, a Dell System, diagnostics to make sure that everything is going okay, everything's running all right. So basically what kicked this off was everything was running fine. I ended up going into my device manager, and I was updating some drivers. I did the NVIDIA driver because I have the 1080 Ti, and it asked for the restart. So once I ended up restarting it, that's when my problems really started kicking off. Well, no, something just happened here. I swear I didn't do anything. It just opened by itself. So maybe that's just part of the diagnostics. I don't want to touch anything until this thing says that it's okay. But anyway, so I'm doing, here we go. So let's see what this ends up saying. I'm just gonna close that. It says everything is passed. So I'm going to run this memory stress test. Your memory module appears to be working correctly. However, this diagnosis cannot detect some memory failures. If you suspect something is wrong with your memory module, running a memory stress test can uncover issues. So I'm going to run this. I don't want to, but I need to know that this PC is going to be all right, because the reason I got this is I have an Alienware laptop. My R2, I love the thing. It works great. It performs very well. But I make some videos here and there, and I've been having some issues with the software for the video editing, and it's been really stressing out my laptop. Just maximizing the memory capacity on the SSD drive, and I don't want to do that. So basically that's why I ended up getting this, to get a little more powerful machine, something that was going to be able to handle a little heavier load. But anyways, so I'm going to run this. I'm sorry for rambling on. I'm pretty excited though, I gotta tell you, especially when you end up fixing something on your own. You don't have to wait another 2.5 weeks to send it in and get it repaired. NCIX Tech Tips, man, I am subscribing to you, and you are the man. I cannot thank you enough, brother. You are amazing. So I will be back in a little bit after this test, and we'll try to update and see what ends up happening. This is what my main concern was right here. This beautiful piece of machinery. Sorry, I was running up and down the stairs here. So anyways, this was one of my main concerns, because that is actually what kind of kicked this thing off, is when I ended up updating the GTX 1080 Ti. I still have the driver update right here, which is the beta for the most recent, but I'm really kind of nervous to do that. I just want the performance out of it. That's really what my concern is. I'm not doing this to be, to have a flashy system or anything like that. I mean, I may end up doing some upgrades on this, and I was planning on building an actual computer desk that's made out of some curly maple or quilted maple, and using the 5-color liquid dye kit to end up anchoring it in or something like that. But right now I'm quite busy with life in general. I mean, I trust Alienware. Their systems have been amazing for me. I've always wanted an Alienware ever since I was a teenage child, so I finally was able to accomplish one of my dreams, and now I'm looking at my second one. So I'm super excited, but when I ended up having this little bit of a fallout here, it's amazing that I have the accessibility to so many technical geniuses, you know, that knows how to do some of this stuff, and I can't thank you guys enough for sharing your information and your knowledge with us. And you know, some of us really honestly do appreciate it. But anyways, I'm just going to continue running this test, and we'll see what the diagnostics end up returning for some results, and hopefully that everything works out great. So looks to be doing fairly well through the test. I'm 25 minutes into it. The CPU is looking good. It's still running the Intel HD graphics. The NVIDIA passed, which was my main concern. Everything else seems to look like it's in good shape. The CMOS looks good now. System board, it's all passed, so that's outstanding. That is great. But again, I have not closed this up yet, so my other concern is potentially maybe there's a short that's on the case itself. But you know, I'm gonna have to, you know, wait till this is done, and then I'm gonna power it down. I'm gonna let her cool off for a little bit before I end up closing it up again. I've always taken pretty good care of my systems. You know, I baby them probably way more than I really should. I mean, there's times that even on you know, high games and stuff like that, I don't try to let it run to the max. I won't play them very long, and you know, stuff like that. But anyways, I'm just trying to document this, so if this happens to somebody else, that hopefully they have a good reference video that will end up helping them, because believe me, I know what that feels like. You know, you wait that time for your beautiful machine to get here, and then everything's working beautiful, and then all of a sudden something ends up happening. So anyways, I got this new monitor. This baby's beautiful. Holy smokes, if you don't have an ultra wide, oh, I am telling you, this thing is amazing. Like the first time the whole full screen ended up popping up, you know, I ended up opening up in a browser window, and boom, the whole thing opened up. I was just like, oh my goodness, that is just beautiful. So far, I'm pretty astounded with the Dell. There's a 3417 and a 3415. This was the 15. Okay, so now it's ran through all the tests. Everything is passed in the support, and so basically this is for the thermal monitor. So I'm just going to agree to this because, well, what other choice do I have? If I accept, I do not accept, I guess I will never know what my thermal monitors are doing. So and that's my temps. Anyway, so this is where this is at. Everything is looking pretty good. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to power this down and just let my baby rest a little bit, and I'll come back when I power it back up after she sat for a little bit, and hopefully everything is done. I'm also going to end up closing and encapsulating everything again, and we'll see. Oh, my drive opened up again. But and we'll see if everything goes well. So wish me luck, and you know, if you're having some troubles, I hope that this ends up helping you out too, because I know that I was pretty worried about what was going to end up happening. I mean, I do have the warranty, but okay. So one other quick update before I power this beautiful machine down. I did go ahead and do the NVIDIA GeForce game, GeForce Experience, or the GeForce Experience. It is downloading. I'm familiar with this. I have it in my R2, my laptop. I love it. So I am taking the chance of doing the installation. So we're just gonna see what happens. I just get worried because that's what ended up happening when I ended up updating my drivers for you know, the GTX before. Then that's when I ended up having some issues. So I'm hoping that's, you know, I'm just hoping it was just the bad motherboard battery. That would be the greatest thing. Or maybe my RAM stick was a little bit loose, you know, just from the shipping process. Everything seems to be coming along just fine. So if that ends up happening to you, I guess the first thing that I could recommend is go check out that YouTuber NCIX Tech Tips for PC troubleshooting, no post diagnosis. Sorry. Anyways, a real shout out for him, because without his expertise on this, I really wouldn't even know where to start. I'd be talking to Dell support right now, probably packing my machine up or something like that, or waiting for the tech to come in. So a real shout out to you, my friend. I really owe you one. Anyways, I'm gonna power this down because I am rambling as I'm waiting for this, but we do have the GeForce Game Ready driver installing, so hopefully everything works out. Okay, great news. Installation completed. Looking wonderful. So I just wanted to get that in there. Anyways, there we go. So I am now going to power her down, and I'm going to let, okay, so I have an update. Here, so I'm gonna go ahead and update it, and hopefully nothing goes sketchy on me. So I'm gonna update and shut down. I'm gonna let her cool down, take a little rest, maybe about an hour or so, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so I got another just quick update here. So I powered it down, I let her cool down and rest for a little bit, and I've got my alien effects working. I know that doesn't look very impressive on the camera, but it actually has a very good glow system to it. It's a pretty good, decent lighting system. So anyways, it looks like that things have been corrected, and I have my power on my keyboard. My monitor is up. It did its update, and so I'm gonna do a couple of things on here. I'm gonna power her down, let her rest again, and just be very ginger with her for a little bit, just to kind of see how things play out. But it's looking pretty well. It looks like that has corrected itself. So if you end up having a flashing yellow here, I'm not recommending that you do this. I mean, you should, if you have a warranty, and if it was as new as mine is, I guess the best thing that you could probably do is to contact Alienware themselves and let them know that you're having a little bit of trouble with your system. But something that was so simple, according to the YouTube videos that I ended up seeing, I just wanted to just check a couple of things, because you know what, this thing has traveled a couple thousand miles, so who knows what happened to it. And I just wanted to make sure that all of the components were in there properly. So I went through that. I changed out the CMOS battery here, and things are looking pretty well. Things are looking up. So if you experience that problem, I can't say for the laptop, because I've never had issue like this with the laptop, but hopefully that will help somebody else out in the panic mode. So I'm gonna try to do a couple things here, and I'll give my last update after I have a little bit of time on here. It is working beautifully. I've actually ran it through some paces. I've got my keyboard back, my mouse is working just fine. It ended up either being the CMOS battery, the memory sticks just being loose, or I also ended up getting this power strip. So basically ended up doing a dedicated power strip for the PC and the monitor and everything else. If that's showing up a little bit better there. One other thing I would like to mention, I did end up plugging my monitor into the graphics card, the 1080 Ti, instead of going up into the Intel HD. Now, it took me a while to figure that out, because a lot of people have these things on the internet with some software saying here, do the software thing, but that just wasn't working for me. So I ended up plugging into the back of the graphics card, and now it works amazing. I did run some games on it. I've watched some movies. I haven't done the video editing yet, but I will be doing that next. So unless something else crashes while I'm doing the video editing, everything is working beautiful. It's an awesome, incredibly powerful machine. Nothing but great things to say about the Aurora. the Alienware. Again, I have the 850 watt power supply on here, so it has a little more power requirement, so I may have had a little bit of too much power being split up, so that could have been it as well. Anyways, I really appreciate the help from fellow YouTubers. You guys are amazing. Thank you again so much for watching, and this will be it for me.